Christ the Redeemer statue lit up in Brazil colours as the hosts play Croatia in the first match of the 2014 FIFA World Cup tonight.
It looks like protesters want to get moving, and there's some pushing back. As you can see, when if they shoot the gotta go. It hit my arm.
But it's a rocky start. Protests across Brazil. Ground staff at Rio de Janeiro's 3 airports go on a 24-hour partial strike. Bus drivers in Natal also on strike. 6 Goa MLAs, including the sports, fisheries and power ministers, will go on a junket to Brazil for the World Cup at the cost of 89 lakh rupees. No sportsperson is part of the delegation. So should the Goa government junk the junket? Getting us reactions on the Goa junket from Twitter is Arunodaya Mukherjee at our Microsoft Center. Arunodaya, a quick heads up.
Right, it's certainly creating a lot of buzz on Twitter and other social networking websites, most of them critical of that move. We'll get you much more ahead on the show. For the moment, back to you for the other headlines. Ananya.
Thanks very much. Just take you through what else is making the headlines at 8 this evening.
उत्तर प्रदेश में माहौल अच्छा भी है, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कई स्टेटों से बेटर भी है.
UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav defends his government's record on law and order, speaking to Network 18, even as more cases emerge. A woman alleges rape by policemen in Hamidpur. Another body is found hanging from a tree in Muradabad. The height of the Sardar Sarovar Dam will be raised by 17 meters. Authorities grant permission. Narmada Bachao Andolan's Medha Patkar calls the move unjust and illegal. Infosys will be led by an outsider for the first time. Former SAP executive Vishal Sikka is the new CEO and MD. Narayan Murthy and his son will step down on the 14th. And residents of Mumbai's Campacola Housing Society will not budge despite an eviction notice following a Supreme Court order. The deadline expired at 5 this evening. But the top story on a day when the World Cup kicks off, controversy seems to have hit home. 6 Goa MLAs, including the sports minister Ramesh Tawarkar, will go on a junket to Brazil. It's going to be worth 89 lakh rupees. While the government's calling it a study tour, the Congress has slammed the Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar over needless expenditure. Shravan Sen with our top story.
As the world gears up for the biggest sporting celebration in the world, controversy seems to have hit home. The BJP government in Goa is reportedly spending 89 lakhs to send a contingent of MLAs to Brazil, ostensibly on a study tour. Strangely, none of them have anything to do with football. The contingent is headed by Sports Minister Tawarkar and consists of Goa Fisheries Minister Arvanto Furtado and Power Minister Milind Nayak. Former India football captain Bruno Coutinho told CNN-IBN his name was in fact dropped from the delegation. Sources say the Sports Authority of Goa had sent a file to the Sports Ministry in May with Coutinho's name on the list. But the Sports Minister sent a new list to the CM later, which only had MLAs.
Officially, CM has approved football as a #1 sport in Goa. And a football guy like me is not being taken. That means there is something wrong with that. A footballer should have been there in the list. As a former India captain, I am hurt.
The Goa Sports Minister has defended the move, saying the junket is aimed to promote football, adding that many of the MLAs are football enthusiasts.
If 4 of them are football players, we are thinking to set up football academy. We are going to Brazil, not only for World Cup, seeing the World Cup game, the infrastructure and all the football academy.
The Congress is now on the war path against the BJP government.
आज उन्हीं की सरकार गोवा के अंदर 89 लाख रुपीस खर्च कर रही है कि वहां के एमएलएस फुटबॉल देखने चले जाएं। क्या यही अच्छे दिन हैं? शायद उन एमएलएस के लिए अच्छे दिन हो।
What exactly has been given for these ministers and whether it is everything found, whether even the extracurricular activities have been paid for, because the amount also is big.
The incident is a big embarrassment for the BJP top brass in Delhi too. So far, they have refused to comment. With Shravan Sen in Goa, in New Delhi, Ayushman Jamwal.
But a first reaction from the Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar is defending the Brazil bonanza for his colleagues. He's told CNN-IBN that all those ministers who are going on what he calls a study tour are footballers themselves.
Government has decided that we send 5-6 MLAs who are with minister and those who are football fans, some of them don't know that Averton Furtar is a goalie who played for India also. The others also are football players themselves. They are going to go there to see how World Cups or these mega events are arranged. What are the infrastructure required and how the crowd is controlled, how the stadiums are built. All those aspects are also part of their visits. So let them get experience, come back. Sports being an event, as a sport, tourism, government consider this as an investment.
And Manohar Parikar is our newsmaker on India at 9 this evening with Anubhav Bhosle, so do watch out for that. So should the Goa government junk the Brazil junket? That's a talking point on India at 9 with Anubhav Bhosle tonight. And for the moment, let's go across towards buzzing on Twitter as far as the Goa junket is concerned. Arunadhay Mukherjee is joining us from our Microsoft Center. Arunadhay?
Well, Ananya, it doesn't seem that the Goa Chief Minister's explanation is cutting any ice with people who have been writing in. They're certainly not buying that kind of explanation. Let's take you through some of those tweets that are coming in. One person responding to our question, writing in to say, Nitin Narayan saying, not at all. Why should taxpayers pay for frivolous trips? Make their names public so that voters know for whom they should not vote for in the future. Dr. Narayan Rupani, however, writing in favor of the Goa government, knowing media will pick up these issues, still the Goa Chief Minister decided to send his ministers. We need to hear him before judging. So it's still up for grabs as to whether you think he has done the right thing with that. This reaction coming in to Rajdeep Sardesai as well, maybe going to learn how not to put self-goals in the assembly. So taking a spin-off there as far as the assembly proceedings are concerned. Pranav Kadam writing in to say, Goa BJP MLAs off to Brazil to study traffic. You can see that's the exclamation times infinity. That's Pranav Kadam. So people are having a little bit of a good time at the expense of this decision, certainly not buying the kind of explanation coming in. One final comment coming in from Dr. Tanima Datta. FIFA, 6 MLAs from Goa for a study tour to Brazil, spending 89 lakhs and no footballer. This is called dedication towards sports. So certainly a sarcastic take there. I think we can take one more tweet. And in fact, you also can keep your tweets coming in. This is the hashtag we're using, MLAs to Rio. Vikas Mittal writing in to say, it's a shame that our most upright and diligent Chief Minister has approved this study tour request that it should be cancelled forthwith. So even supporters of Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parikar not particularly happy. The timing certainly suspect, and you too can continue sending in your reactions. We'll keep playing them out. Just a few more hours till the big kickoff to the big game. Back to you, Ananya.
Yes, less than a couple of hours now. Arunadhay, thanks very much for that. And the talking point tonight, should the Goa government junk the junket? To join Anubhav Bhosle on India at 9 this evening. All right, less than 2 hours to go now for the greatest carnival on earth to kick off. Brazil taking on Croatia in that first match. Of course, looking to win an unprecedented 6th World Cup title. That fight starts tonight. The Brazilian national team seen here training in the fog for the World Cup opener. Croatia is also a formidable side. Luka Modric is a name in that squad that you'd be familiar with. So can Croatia spoil Brazil's party? Sandeep Mukherjee sets up that clash.
An unfortunate jolt to Brazil's campaign even before it started. Manager Luis Felipe Scolari's nephew killed in a car crash on Tuesday. And even as the team will rally around Big Phil in this difficult time, it is Scolari who will be the mastermind in determining how far the Seleção drive forward in their quest for a 6th World Cup. Having managed the Canary Yellow to their last world title 12 years ago, it is the 65-year-old tactician on whom the entire country is banking upon to orchestrate another perfect campaign.
A World Cup opener is always really complicated, really tough. I think it is as tough as it is important, because I think when you start well, the rest of the teams watch you. I think it is the most important game in the World Cup along with the final.
Having never lost an opening game in the World Cup, the Canarinho will shine even brighter as they take on Croatia in the Cup opener at Sao Paulo later tonight. While the team's practice camps have been shrouded in secrecy, the possibility of the squad that destroyed Spain in the Confed Cup final to take the field tonight is greater than before. Neymar is most likely to take his customary spot just behind Fred, with Hulk and Oscar completing one of the most formidable attacking midfields.
I think the team is really well prepared to play with or without Neymar. We have 23 quality players who can come in and help. It might change our style of play a bit, but it won't mean we play better or worse.
Croat boss Niko Kovac, who led his team against Brazil itself in the 2006 World Cup, will now bank upon Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic to engineer the resistance against the hosts, who will look to start off with nothing less than a win. Football has just arrived at its eternal home again. Time now for the samba to begin. Sanjeev Mukherjee, CNN, IBN.
But before the first kick-off on this tournament, there's the big party to kick off in Sao Paulo. The opening ceremony of the tournament will start at around 10 this evening Indian time. The 25-minute ceremony will feature more than 600 artists, dancers, drummers and gymnasts. But most notably, it will have Jennifer Lopez and Pitbull taking centre stage along with the Brazilian singer Claudia Leite. The tournament, of course, more than anything else, is about the fans. Let's listen to some of those who are trooping in now to Brazil for this big tournament.
Brazil's known as like a party country, so it's the World Cup and party together. You just can't beat it.
I tell you the truth, I was expecting much more than what's going on here. In Sao Paulo is a lot of troubles.
It's great, man.
Awesome,
I can't complain. I love it. Nice weather, you know, they got the beach here. People are treating us well, so can't complain.
And yes, all eyes and expectations will be on 22-year-old Neymar, who, much like Indian cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar, is carrying the burden of expectations of millions. Will he live up to the hype? Here's our panelist's take.
When was the last time you ever saw a head of state getting sacked for his country failing to win the World Cup? Do you think Dilma Rousseff, the Brazilian president, is in danger of losing a job if Neymar doesn't deliver the World Cup for Brazil? That's as important as Neymar is this time.
Yes, it is a lot of pressure, but for me, it's to give credit to the coach. Scolari has turned around Neymar. I saw him in the 2012 London Olympics final. I was doing commentary there, and Neymar was a little petulant then, individualistic. If the ball didn't come his way, he wasn't combining. Since Scolari's taken over, he's made him a complete team man. He's oozing with confidence, tremendous creativity, free kicks with both feet, the typical Brazilian, the next Zico.
Right.
And he can, he's got that balance to be able to suddenly move in and score. So, yes, he's at the peak of his form, but will he be weighed down by the burden of expectations?
Yeah.
All right, but away from the game, there is also the darker and the unhappy side of Brazil ahead of this month-long tournament. Ground staff at Rio de Janeiro's 3 airports have decided to go on a 24-hour partial strike.
The workers' union has vowed to continue 80% of the work, but this has raised fears of delays as large number of fans will start pouring into the city. Also, bus drivers in Natal, one of Brazil's 12 World Cup host cities, have announced that they will also go on strike starting today. This even as uncertainty continues in Sao Paulo, as we've been saying, over the subway workers' decision to strike, who have, at least for the moment, called it off. But CNN's Shasta Darlington reports from Sao Paulo as people continue to protest against lack of infrastructure facilities and the money that is being spent on the World Cup.
Things are getting pretty crazy here. There was a skirmish a short while ago. The police fired tear gas. They ended up arresting one person. It looks like protesters want to start get moving, and there's some pushing back. As you can see, we may have, if they shoot the tear... Gotta go. It hit my arm. Okay, they shot the tear gas. This is obviously getting very tense. There isn't actually a large group of protesters, but the police are firing tear gas. It's clear they do not want protesters getting anywhere near the stadium. At this point, we're 11 kilometers away. The idea is to march as close as they can get. But police have said they're going to keep a perimeter of at least 5 kilometers. So we're obviously not going to get much closer than that. And I got to say, things are very tense. These are people who feel the World Cup should never have been held here in the first place. They think the $11 billion spent on the event should have been spent on things like schools and hospitals, public transportation, and they want to make sure that today, the opening game day, people aren't just thinking about the game, they're also thinking about what's going on in Brazil, about what they feel are very poor services, and they also accuse the government of using a lot of the money for own personal gain. So this is something I think we're going to be seeing all day, not letting up anytime soon.
With billions spent on the biggest soccer tournament in Brazil, it's not just how the government is fueling money that is also fueling anger in the country.
In fact, many locals feel that they are being squeezed out of a party that's happening on their doorstep, as CNN's Fred Pleitgen now reports.
The favelas have produced some of Brazil's finest football talent. But now that the country is hosting the World Cup, many in the shanty towns feel excluded from the show. So they're playing their own tournament, called the People's Cup, to protest FIFA's event. All the players who are participating in the tournament are from favelas here around Rio, and their message is clear. They believe that the World Cup is an event for a select few rich people in this country at the expense of the millions of poor people who come from shanty towns like this one. One of those playing in the popular cup is Clayton Vieira Soares. He's a soldier and says he only supports the World Cup because it's a job. He's been put on guard duty at one of the stadiums.
No.
They don't care about the people, he says. All they care about is getting rich tourists over here to watch the World Cup. In a country with big inequalities, soccer has always been a unifying factor. But the World Cup has highlighted the social problem, says Cal Lima, one of the organizers of the People's Cup. This year we're bringing together all the people who are affected by the World Cup, he says. There are some who were evicted from their land, homeless people, and some fans who couldn't afford tickets. We're bringing together those who are not going to the FIFA party. A party many in Brazil's favelas have been waiting for all their lives, which most of them cannot afford to attend. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Rio de Janeiro.
So can India ever qualify for the Football World Cup? That's a talking point on India at 9 with Anubhav Bhosle this evening. We'll take a short break. Lots more ahead on the FIFA World Cup.
And as we go into this break, listen in to cricketer Kevin Peterson, who's taking a break from his sport, giving his take on the tournament. Stay with us.
Brazil, in hosting the World Cup, do you think they're going to take home their 6th crown?
Potentially. Them or Argentina. I'm backing the South American side for sure.
Between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, whose World Cup do you think this is?
Well, seeing as I've said a South American team is going to probably win, I'd have to go down the Messi route.
There is no disputing that when Brazil plays, it's like poetry in motion. They're the most beautiful team to watch. But I like Germany. I think they're a young team. I think the average age of the German team is 23.8. So they're really young, and they're a good team. Germany, yeah, can never count out Spain, and Argentina is very strong.
As more cases of brutality against women continue unabated in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav remains defiant.
Right, he's actually saying UP is better than other states, and making matters worse are the insensitive comments coming in from those in power. The UP's top cop, the DGP of the state, now calling such crimes routine.
Weeks after the Badaयूं case, more cases of brutality against women have surfaced in Uttar Pradesh. A teen was found hanging from a tree near Moradabad, and a woman was allegedly gang raped, murdered and hung from a tree in Bahraich. Despite the evidence of lawlessness, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav remained defiant.
उत्तर प्रदेश में माहौल अच्छा भी है, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कई स्टेटों से बेटर भी है.
But the evidence goes against the claim. On Wednesday, a woman was raped inside a police station by a sub-inspector and 3 constables. But insensitive comments continued from the state police chief.
ये मैं मानता हूँ कि घटनाएं हो रही हैं, ये हर क्या कहते हैं हर साल नॉर्मल एक रूटीन है.
Women's organizations are now demanding Akhilesh Yadav's resignation and the centre's intervention.
मुख्यमंत्री जी को अब इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए. Well, nobody is there to control this. That is what it looks like, because this chief minister doesn't think it's a serious crime.
But the centre is still playing it safe, while the Congress, which once had to depend on Samajwadi Party in the parliament, is now sharpening its attack.
Law and order is a state subject, and state government has to deal with that.
ये घटनाएं बढ़ रही थी, इसके मतलब कहीं ना कहीं प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था में कोई बहुत कमजोरी है.
Meanwhile, the CBI has finally taken over the Badaयूं rape case.
A 20-member team headed by the DIG of the Special Crime Branch will leave for Uttar Pradesh tomorrow.
With the crime against women continuing unabated, the question everyone's asking is the UP government losing its grip over administration of the state? With Bureau Inputs in New Delhi, Meenakshi Upreti.
More news now. For the first time in Infosys history, an outsider is at the helm. Vishal Sikka, formerly with SAP, is the new Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of the company.
46-year-old Sikka will replace SD Shibulal, who leaves the company on the 31st of July. Executive Chairman Narayan Murthy and Executive Vice Chairman S. Gopalakrishnan will step down from their posts on the 14th of June. So will Narayan Murthy's son Rohan, currently Co-Executive Chairman. Sikka did his schooling in Vadodara, graduated from Syracuse and did his doctorate in Stanford. He launched 2 startups before joining SAP. Sikka spoke earlier in an exclusive chat to our network.
You come with a products background, whereas we are talking about a services industry and company.
I think one of the most exciting things that I was doing at SAP was the working together with customers in bringing completely new kinds of applications to life. In industries where software has not yet made its way in totally unprecedented kinds of applications. And I think that when you look at the scale of Infosys, the opportunity to deliver co-innovation and great new avenues, opening up great new avenues of software with these kinds of products. This is something that is quite extraordinary. I think that learning the business will be the key challenge. I think that there is it is a very large company. I mean, it is astounding that we have more than 160,000 colleagues here around the company, and I think that getting a sense of that breadth is something that that is daunting, but also something that I am incredibly excited about.
Sure. He was leading all products and innovations globally. Vishal is well known globally for heading the creation of HANA, an in-memory database, and has been hailed as a wonderful leader and technology visionary. Vishal Sikka means lots of money, big money. So I said, this is what we need for Infosys.
You can find more on his appointment on our website, ibnlive.com. Let's get you more national news now. The Narmada Dam Control Authority has given permission to raise the height of the Sardar Sarovar Dam by 17 meters. The dam height will be raised from 121 meters to 138. According to the Narmada Bachao Andolan, there are 250,000 people residing in the submergence area. Earlier, a group of tribals had met the Gujarat Chief Minister and opposed the move to raise the height of the dam.
आज तो वो उस मीटिंग के पूरे होने के पहले ही बांध स्थल पर पहुंच गई थी। इसका मतलब निर्णय पूरा जनतांत्रिक पद्धति से नहीं लिया गया है और 2.5 लाख लोग जो डूब क्षेत्र में हैं, जहां पक्के मकान, दुकान, बाजार, मंदिर, मस्जिद, शाला, दवाखाने, लाखों पेड़, जंगल, आदिवासियों के हैमलेट्स भी और बड़े-बड़े शहर जैसे गांव भी है, उनको जल समाधि देने का ये निर्णय बिल्कुल ही अन्यायकारक है।
Here with India 360, and as we've been reporting, it's a rocky start to the FIFA World Cup in Brazil as protests intensify.
As we come to the end of our show, airport staff on strike, subway workers on strike, and bus drivers in Natal also on strike. What is going to happen in the days ahead? We leave you with a ground report from CNN's Shasta Darlington.
Things are getting pretty crazy here. There was a skirmish a short while ago. The police fired tear gas. They ended up arresting one person. It looks like protesters want to start get moving, and there's some pushing back. As you can see, we may have, if they shoot the tear, gotta go. It hit my arm. Okay, they shot the tear gas. This is obviously getting very tense. There isn't actually a large group of protesters, but the police are firing tear gas. It's clear they do not want protesters getting anywhere near the stadium. At this point, we're 11 kilometers away. The idea is to march as close as they can get. But police have said they're going to keep a perimeter of at least 5 kilometers. So we're obviously not going to get much closer than that. And I got to say, things are very tense. These are people who feel the World Cup should never have been held here in the first place. They think the $11 billion spent on the event should have been spent on things like schools and hospitals, public transportation, and they want to make sure that today, the opening game day, people aren't just thinking about the game, they're also thinking about what's going on in Brazil, about what they feel are very poor services, and they also accuse the government of using a lot of the money for own personal gain. So this is something I think we're going to be seeing all day, not letting up anytime soon.